So CNN did another town hall last night, this time with Donald Trump and his entire family. Apparently this is a new thing. They did it the night before with John Kasich and his entire family. I don't know why they're doing this, but the bottom line is the 10 minutes of it that I caught, it was a total and utter fluff piece. I mean, the questions, it was honestly like an SNL skit. The questions, and by the way, they pre-approve all these questions. They talk to people in the audience who are going to ask the questions beforehand, and they say, okay, you get clearance for that one. They were like, Eric, you know, I liked my daddy a lot. I loved my daddy. And what we would do together is we would go fishing, and it was some of the best times of my life. I'm wondering what you and your daddy share in common and how much you love each other. And he'd be like, oh, my dad is great. My dad's really awesome. And like, you know, we love business. And sometimes we're up late on the phone talking about business. And he like tells me how to make America great again. And I'm like, I love making America great again. Now, you would hope that, well, there's some policy substance sprinkled into this. Not at all. Not at all. Mr. Trump, what have you learned about yourself during this entire process? Well, I've learned that I'm fantastic and I'm great. They asked his wife, what would you change about your husband if you could change anything? She says, you know, sometimes I would stop that foul language, but sometimes it's absolutely necessary. He's got to do it. He's America's daddy. He must scold the black people of the nation, damn it. Scold the Muslims. What are we doing here? No, okay. Here's why this is so beyond fucked up. CNN not only missed the point of journalism, they're doing the opposite of journalism. This is the polar opposite of journalism. I'm not kidding when I say you can go to some police states, some authoritarian regimes, and their state-owned TV networks where the whole point of it is propaganda for those people, for the leaders. They wouldn't have done as big of a fluff piece as we saw last night on CNN with these guys. Now, look, there are so many people who are not political junkies who might watch this segment and go, come on, you're being too hard, man. You're just learning about the family. Don't you want to know about the family in order before they get elected? And it's just a nice moment where we, talk about things that are more personal. But, no, you don't get it because the whole point of the media is supposed to be, in a democracy, it's supposed to hold government accountable and people who want to be our politicians and our leaders accountable. So you're supposed to fact check. You're supposed to give data and information. You're supposed to call them out when they're wrong. You're supposed to say to them, hey, your budget numbers don't add up. Hey, let's talk about this past you had where you were openly a con man. Trump University, for example, where you took people's money. It wasn't even a university. You would take people's money and then upsell them to get the better product, and then there was no better product. And you hired people who were known con artists to run the class. There's 1,001 things. Hey, Mr. Trump, you say you're really, really against offshoring and outsourcing jobs? Well, why is it the case, though, that you have your ties made in China? You know, your daughter has scarves, her own scarves, also made in China. They just got recalled because they're a fire threat. This is what you talk about. Guys, the whole point of politics is supposed to be, say it with me, policy. That's what it's called, politics. Policy is supposed to be what it's about. So, this is what I want to do with the country. Here's my plan on healthcare. Here's my plan on immigration. Here's my plan on the economy. Here's my plan on foreign policy. You got none of that last night. Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, Ted Cruz, John Kasich, they're not running to be your boyfriend. They're not running to be your girlfriend. They're not running to be your friend. They're not running to hold hands and frolic in the meadow. They're not running to sit next to you on a Sunday and sip coffee and chat about sports or fucking fashion or any of that stuff. That's not the point of running for president. The point is, hey, this is my vision for the country, and let me give you details about, how I want to bring that about and why it's the better vision than the other person. This entire thing last night was all personal. It was to humanize the monster. Now, again, I know some people would take issue with me calling him a monster, but it ain't me, it's him. You go look at what he said, quote, torture even if it doesn't work. Well, that would put you right in league with all the worst monsters and the worst terrorists in the world. I mean, that's not a debatable thing. You're just violating international law. He says we should attack civilians in the Middle East. Don't just go after ISIS. Go after the families of ISIS. Okay, well, many of them are heartbroken their kids are even in ISIS. They don't want them to be in ISIS. And you're going to go after the moms and the dads and the grandpas and the toddlers? The fuck is wrong with you? That should disqualify you as something like that. I'm promising to commit war crimes. Well, let me have you on with your wife and your family, and we'll humanize the shit out of you, and we'll talk about how, oh, Mr. Trump, you're so misunderstood. People don't get that you're a good guy. Tell me again about the present that you got for your wife on your 3rd anniversary and how it made her feel. We're watching, old media in the U.S. is such a joke. We're watching journalism collapse in front of us. There is no more journalism in the mainstream media. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. So, I mean, obviously I'm very upset about this because I care about the effect it has on the country. But on the other hand, I guess I should be happy because they're handing over the audience to new media. They're handing it over to print outlets online, to YouTube, yes, to other new media outlets. And this is why our numbers are exploding as theirs keep shrinking. Because people they're sick of that. They're not as stupid as you think they are. Okay, they go, that smells like bullshit. And especially millennials. Millennials, they know how to use the fangled new internet thingy-majiggy. They know how to use it, so they've been already reading for a long time sites that they trust. They get, detailed news reports. They know what's happening in the world. They understand policy. Now millennials know that other modern nations have universal college, have universal health care, and we're getting screwed. They have paid vacation time by law. And then we have fucking assholes running here promising to commit war crimes, not talking at all about, on the Republican side, vacation time, not talking at all about increasing the minimum wage. And you bring on their family to fucking humanize them and talk about how you're such a good individual. Tell me again how you said you wanted to lower wages. They would never ask that. Donald Trump said in one of the debates, the wages are too high in this country. And again, you bring him on to talk about, tell me about your dog. Did you love Fluffers a lot? I'm sure you did. Fluffers was so great to the family. Tell me about how your son is going to be so great at running your business when you're president of the United States and you're destroying the country. Again, they'd never say that. But you'll miss the entire point of journalism. It's supposed to be to hold people in power accountable, not to suck up to them for access and to try to get ratings. So, by all means, Anderson, keep going. Anderson Cooper hosted it, but everybody, all the other hosts, I'm not exonerating any of them. They all suck balls. Wolf Blitzer's never said an interesting thing in his entire life. By all means, keep going. Keep sucking at your fucking job and opening the door for people like me, because I have no censors. I have no controls from above. I have nobody telling me what I can and cannot say. And I actually have a moral compass, and I give a shit about what I'm talking about here. So I'd be willing to ask policy-oriented questions. And at the end of the day, to be clear, we're way more entertaining than they are. I mean, who wanted to watch a smooth, slippery hand job of Donald Trump last night? Nobody wanted to see that. Nobody wanted to see that. We need tough questions. We need real journalists. We need real reporters. It certainly ain't coming from the mainstream media, so step the fuck aside and let the pros take over.